What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex the Podcast. The boys are here. We are ready to go, and we have our thoughts loaded up on Season 18 of Apex Legends. Now, last week we went through the patch notes, and we had our kind of early predictions on how we thought things would go. Now we've actually been inside the game, been able to play it for a full week and get kind of our full scope of the situation kind of figured out. There were some things that I think we undersold, some things that we oversold, but overall, I think so far, at least in my opinion, I have had a blast this season. I saw a little bit of negativity on the first day, and then after that, I'm going to be honest, like I don't agree with a whole lot of the negativity right now. We'll get into all of our opinions here in just a moment. I forgot to say, how are the boys doing? Let's kick it off with Enoch. E, how are you feeling?
I'm doing well. Definitely, I'm enjoying the season more than I did the first couple of days. I think I was a little overcritical, and there's definitely an adjustment period going from playing ranked like it was last season to how you have to play it now, which is a little bit more serious, more dialed, more locked in. If you want to have like those big gains and be able to like, it's just more fun when you're winning, right? And it's been fun. It's been good. I'm doing a little pred grind again, which is mix up of what I have been doing for quite some time. And so a little bit outside of top 100 should hopefully end around top 50, if not inside top 50 by the end of tomorrow or the next day. And it's just been a good time. I'm enjoying it. They did a great job and it's fun. And yeah, I'm just excited about a lot of stuff that I got going on. I'm a multi-platform. I stream on 3 different platforms now, which is weird to think about. I did like today, I streamed like 6 hours on Twitch, 4 hours on Kick, and 8 hours on TikTok. Of the total 10 hours that I played the game today, and it's just been everything's been going on the up and up since I like changed the energy and way I approach stream and everything. I feel like I'm coming at it from a place that I need to be doing what I want. And so definitely went through a few rough days, but we bounced back crazy. And I'm excited to climb the mountain of excellency. How are y'all doing?
Finn? No, I pointed. I said it first.
Wyatt
I
goes
said
next.
it first.
No, Wyatt.
Dude, I said it first.
He did say Finn
bro.
first. He did say Finn first.
I'll just go. So if you're watching on the YouTube, my eyes are insanely red and bloodshot right now. I just woke up from the craziest nap right before the show. So that's really it. Like it was one of those naps where I woke up and I didn't know where I was. And I love those kind of naps. So that was sick. Other than that, my week was good. Just played a ton of Apex, honestly, and then continued with the workout grind. And I appreciate everybody reaching out. There's a ton of people who reached out about that. And yeah, that's really about it for my week. Finn, how was yours?
Nice. Okay. Dude, today has been a long day. I thought what I did this morning was yesterday. That's how long today's been. So, I'm trying to try and liven up a little bit, give a little bit more energy. But yeah, I'm also a bit tired as well. It's been a good week, I would say. Dude, did you guys know that there is powdered form of peanut butter?
No, but
I was aware. I never
bad.
trusted it.
Okay.
And I was just like, what? Like, I don't know.
He was on board. You said Wyatt
Doesn't seem
no?
right.
I just said it kind of sounds bad. I didn't know it existed, but it kind of sounds bad.
Yeah, I've always known it existed. I always thought that it wouldn't be that good.
Well, I've been trying it. I mainly am putting it in like my Greek yogurt because if not, it's just vanilla Greek yogurt, which is fine. But if I throw in some peanut butter, kind of gives it a little bit of some swag.
More pizzazz.
What?
Mhm.
What?
I said pizzazz.
Pizzazz, yes, swag, pizzazz, and so it's been that sounds super random, but yeah, I've been trying to continue on my health grind similar to Wyatt. So me and Wyatt are both in the gym and trying to eat healthy. I think. Actually, I don't
Whoa,
know.
I'm in the gym.
Are
I
you
be
too,
eating
E?
decent.
Okay.
What?
My bad.
That is crazy.
No, dude, you just don't talk about it. I didn't know. That's on me.
Yeah, no, I've been getting back into it. I hadn't been, but I've been getting back to hitting it regularly, and so it's been going well.
You just didn't mention it, dude. So how?
Enoch sent me a workout in the group chat once.
Oh, well, that does. I mean,
Yeah, so
does
that's
that mean
crazy.
that
we did
he?
talk about it? That's
No,
wild.
no. Does that mean that
Chance.
he's working out? Like he could just have the info.
I said I
Well,
sent
he-
him the thing that I do.
He was a D1 athlete too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't worked out like
My bad.
that and a grip like that. I haven't been getting like that, but I've been getting back into the swing of things. It's been good.
How did that feel? Like during that time, do you just felt like you could just rule the world with how much you were working out and just like constantly just being active?
I mean, at that point, it just felt like kind of normal. Like just because I got to that point by working out pretty consistent. Well, I started working out very consistent, like my senior year,
Mm-hmm.
and then just got to a place where I was balling. But I don't know. I don't feel like crazy different now. Like obviously, like
Oh,
I'm not
really?
nearly at that level, but I don't remember feeling like any like crazy different than I do now. Just
Okay.
more muscular and probably a few less pounds.
Yeah.
But I don't
I
know.
just
I've
wondered
been
that.
getting better. It's been
Yeah.
we'll be back to that. We'll be back to. I'm sure that I haven't even reached anywhere close to like what my final form will be. Like I think I'll be in a way better shape in like 1 to 2 years than I ever have been.
There we
At
go.
least that's the goal.
Great goal to
There you
have.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually just remembered this. I do have a story for what happened this week. So, as like my truck issues were documented multiple times, but I haven't had my truck for like 2-3 weeks. They're like working on it, and so to get to work, I've just been having like my fiance drop me off, and then one of my bosses drops me off after work. Today they were like, just take the work truck home, and I was like, sweet. So I drive it home, and they're like, just use it until you get your truck back. So I was parking, you know how in an apartment complex a lot of times they have like a cover for like which apartment like number is yours, and you get that one spot
Like you can
underneath
pay
the
for
cover.
it, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes with it.
Oh, okay.
But like
Gotcha.
it just has a cover over the top. It has your apartment number. It's like that is your spot. So I forgot that this truck had a giant rack on it, so that you can like put metal on the top.
no.
So I have my I drive with AirPods in, which is probably dangerous, but I drive listening to like music and AirPods because I don't have
Both
like,
in,
a
not even
radio.
one in, one out.
No, just both in.
Dude,
And,
Wyatt, that is a hazard of some kind.
I
That is
know.
not good.
I
No, you
know.
should not be doing that. That is just dangerous.
I know, and I learned my
That's
lesson
just straight
because
that's just
I
straight
was-
dangerous.
I was driving into the spot and I started going into the little thing and I didn't hear anything weird. And then I was like, why is the truck not moving forward? And then like I got out and I looked and the rack was hitting the top of the awning thing. And I was like, oh shit. And then I had to like slowly back it out and it was shaking the entire awning thing that was like
How bad
6
was it?
parts. It actually wasn't bad. I was able to like sneak out a little bit and get out of there and I was good. But yeah. So that if I would have heard it initially, it wouldn't have been as bad. But usually I don't even listen to music when I'm driving home. It's usually just podcasts. I just have it like that. But this time I was listening to music and didn't hear that. So that was not good. Not good. That's my only story this week. So I gotta adjust to how I've been driving.
Dude, yeah,
recently.
you got to change. I mean, throw in a like. If anything, have your phone playing it or something. Not.
It's hard because I have no AC, so I have the windows down. That's how it started initially.
Okay.
It initially started from because I used to do that, and then it started from like when it got hot in the summertime. I would have windows down, couldn't hear a damn thing, and I guess I could just keep driving without listening to anything, but it's so hard to do that. I don't know why. It's just hard for me to do that. So I started doing that. Definitely not a good habit. I'll try to kick it. I'll try to kick it for Big Headphone. They're like Big Headphone. They infiltrated how I was driving, and I realize that now. and I need to adjust. I need to adjust. But yeah, that's my other story for this week.
Oh,
And
I have another
yeah.
story.
You got one?
My dog has regressed in the potty training department. So it's
We shouldn't everywhere.
It's bad, and I'm not sure how to do this. I'm about to pay for a professional to just like. I don't know. I don't know how, if it's too far gone. I don't know. I don't think it's too late. But like, we got to
No,
do.
it's definitely not. It's never too late.
We got to do something because this is not okay. This is the stuff that is the. I mean, dude, it is horrible. I will not go into. I will spare everybody the details, but it is disgusting, and I do not like that. I don't. I'm been
You don't like dog
challenged.
shit in your house?
I've been, dude. I have been challenged this week, heavy in that department. So, been fighting. But yeah, that's it. That's my week.
But that should just about round it out for our weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into Apex itself. Season 18 has just freshly dropped. And last week we went through the patch notes and what we thought might be good, what we thought might be bad, things that we were going to like, not like. We've had a full week to really immerse ourselves in the game and figure out if we were right. I think we were correct on a lot of things. I think there were some things that we were incorrect on. And I wanted to throw it down to Enoch first because the first few days, like Finn had said earlier, Enoch wasn't the happiest with the season. But as, the days went on, things started to change a little bit. But I do think there are some things that still kind of stand out. And I think one of those things, is the storm changes, and it's kind of been, it's a weird situation because I feel like the storm changes in certain levels have helped out the games, but I do feel like in other situations it's kind of been like a nuisance. How do you feel on the storm changes and everything?
I'm still not a huge fan of the storm changes. I was definitely more not pleased with it the first few days. Like now that you've had more time to adapt and adjust, like it's just not. I mean, it's just different. You adapt, you figure it out. I'm definitely not a fan of it, but it is what it is. You just got to make the most out of it. I will say the loot on the ground is. I just don't get why it happened. It seems a tad silly, but it is like it's another like adjust as you go, and it's just like okay, well I'm just. Expect to have to like craft more bats sometimes, more than likely you're going to have to craft your armor because like the amount of times that you walk out like triple gray, I mean, it happens. It do be happening. But for the most part, I think from a weapon standpoint, if you craft the Nemesis, you're just down bad. And I will admit, I have crafted a few Nemesis and a few Nemesi in my time. Like I think it's under like a handful. I think I'm definitely still on one hand the amount of times I've crafted an Nemi. But it's overall it's a really great season. The Hemlock is a tad overpowered. Basically just fits the role of what the Hemlock used to be on the floor. So like if you're a hard Nemi crutch, you can still craft it. A lot of people have used the Hemlock a lot more. The SMGs I'm not feeling as much of a effect as I would have, other than the fact that with the nerf to the 9, I find that I'm definitely more down to use a car more. I think you'll see a lot more cars, especially with the Prowler being gone. Cars probably go to SMG unless you have you basically have to have like a full kit 9. Like a full kit 9, I would say is better.
Blue. I think blue. I think blue is the limit for me, right? Like the blue mag. I think if I have a blue mag on my 9, I'll take it. Like I'm just so much more comfortable on the 9.
If I don't have a laser, if I have like a purple mag car, I'm just chilling on it for the game, Like, and typically it would have been I would have dropped a purple mag car for a no mag 9, and I'm just not there anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely changed.
But overall, it's a W. I pretty much what I've been doing is I use the Dirty 30, which is probably my favorite gun at this point in the game, or the Wingman, which has historically been my favorite gun in the game. But I be hitting way more shots with the 30 as long as I have a sight. That gun is just a long range Wingman, and you it's like very similar to like how I would play Bocek. And so it's not the exact same, but it's like a similar play style. And that's kind of when I'm playing some of my best Apex. So I've just been ripping dirty 30 and then a car or a 9 or in basically good to go. That's been my go-to. Hemlock is super sturdy though. But I just like if I wanted to, I could get super locked in and dialed with the Hemlock. But I'm just having so much fun and I'm just way too nasty with the dirty. Like if you hit all your shots with that gun, it is gross. Mixing some headshots, like that thing is, people actually think it's a bad gun and it's just a bad take. Like that gun is nuts.
I mean, who's saying that the 30-30s were like
dude,
dead?
Me.
People on TikTok.
Oh no, dude.
Me.
Casuals. No, dude. Because it's something like the same thing. Like the Wingman's bad for a lot of people.
It's all rhythm,
that
bro.
gun's like the most broken gun in the game. If you like are perfect with it, right? But the dirty 30 is, dude. If you have a 3x or a 2x4, you are just absolutely tearing people apart.
I think.
Get a little skull piercer on it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. One of my teammates runs it, and every time he gets one, we do really, really well. It's just one of those guns that I just can't use it. I've tried so many times.
You just gotta practice. I used to be terrible with it. I was horrible.
Same.
I would literally avoid them like the plague, and then I was like, you know what? A lot of people are using this thing. It looks like it's pretty good. It looks like it's pretty fun. It is a hard weapon to use, but it's so much fun because like you have to take into account how long you're holding it down for. It has like a different bullet velocity. And like these are all just things that I just think make the game more fun. I would say the Dirty 30 is probably one of the most fun guns to use in Apex. And you're just a menace, bro. You are a menace, and then your teammates are just pulling up on people, low HP. And so I shoot a guy twice with the 30, and then they have to deal with Lil Fred just rev all leaping in. It's just raps, you know?
Okay. I think Enoch just took the words out of my mouth on how I felt as well about the 30. Like I literally I hated the gun, but
so bad. I thought it was so bad.
Me too.
I was like, this thing is awful.
I said, why would I pick this up over the G7? Like, I mean, and that's just because I was so naive and I was so used to just running the G7. But then I picked up the 30-30 and I was like, wait, this gun's like 2 times better than the G7 ever was. So maybe not ever was. Okay, that's a little too far.
Well, I mean, the G7, it's so much damage and you have so many shots in the magazine.
But that's how I feel about the 30-30 though.
If you're hitting shots with the 30, it's over.
I also think there's something super satisfying with the gun.
So satisfying.
Like, even the reload is so satisfying because it's like the double reload thing.
I feel like I'm a cowboy.
Dude, I do too.
Whenever I use it, I feel like I'm just going around the Wild West, just
hold on,
gun slinging.
Oh,
man,
no.
you really just have a moment talking about how much you enjoy a weapon, and he just dips. His dog's definitely doing something in his house.
Yeah, probably.
Probably pissing or shitting.
One of those.
Probably.
Or he's just pulling out his own 30-30. Okay.
Oh, no.
Never. Oh, he put on a cowboy hat. Oh, my God.
There we.
How's he going to put the headset on with the cowboy? Oh,
he's not going to be able to. But
I was going to say, you'd have to pull off some.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you go to the YouTube and you watch the video all the way through, and you like and you leave a comment.
Yes.
And you tell your friends about how much you enjoyed it.
This is what I feel like when I hit my 30-30 shots.
So you can see what Finn looks like right now, right here.
Magic $1 million idea. Make a cowboy hat that can put a gaming headset on top of it, because right now Finn would look so sick if he was on stream with this cowboy hat, but he just can't put the headset on. If you could make like a headset compatible cowboy hat, wait, yeah, you know what? Good job. You figure. All right, you know what? That's one of those moments where I want to say cut that, but we can't. We have to leave it in.
You gotta leave it in. And you know what? That's gotta be a short form content somewhere.
Yep.
Post it.
Yep.
Post it.
Fuck. I still think it would still be cool though if you could have a full headset with the cowboy hat. That would still be neat. Maybe not a $1
maybe
million
that
idea, maybe a couple $1,000 idea,
I forgot.
Maybe it sells 25, 50.
Yeah, we could. I think people would do it just to be like, "Yo, check
Check
this
it.
out."
Yeah. It's like those you remember on social media a few weeks ago, it was like those big ass red boots that everyone was buying. Those ugly red boots. You remember those? You see those on social media?
I don't
It's
believe
like
so.
all the rappers were wearing
I'm
it.
sorry, Wyatt. I also don't know,
I do
but
not follow.
They were the ugliest red boots. If I looked it up and I'll wait till after the show to show you guys. But yeah, it could be like one of those. It's so ugly that people are like, yeah, I need those right now. Okay. Anyway,
sorry
yes.
for that. People needed the visualization.
Yeah. If you only listen to audio, you at least have to go tune into the YouTube, hit the little thumbs up button, and just scroll to where Finn is wearing a cowboy hat over the top of his headset.
And if you wanted to watch the video all the way through to help with the analytics and getting that pushed out more, we wouldn't hate that. We would say thank you and appreciate the support.
It was these boots were famous
Here,
right
show
here.
me.
Look, this is my phone.
Oh gosh.
You remember those?
Those look. No, I haven't seen them, but they look
So
so idiotic.
they were like $3,000, and then rappers started wearing them courtside, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, they're ugly, but I mean, rappers are wearing them, so hell yeah."
And it's like, what are you gonna do? Like talk mess to the guy that just spent $3K on a shoe?
Yeah, you can't really. You kind of have to respect it. Okay. So I kind of went with Enoch first to talk about some of the things that maybe people might be annoyed with. I think the one other thing might be the map rotation, and we're going to talk about ranked here in a little bit. But I did think it was kind of funny that for the first time in a while, I felt like ranked was like really competitive, really good, really fun. And then they put the 3 probably toughest ranked maps in the rotation to try out the new system with. Very funny. I have actually had a great time though playing ranked on Kings Canyon. I might be crazy for that, but out of all 3 of them, Kings Canyon has been my most stable day. I love Olympus to death. I'm an Olympus Army general. The issue with Olympus being that it's just a casual map. It's just a public match map. That's all it is. I die far too often, far too quickly on that map during ranked, and the rotates are tough. And then Broken Moon is just Broken Moon. But I've had my best days on Kings Canyon. E, do you have anything on the map rotation? I know you're not a very big Broken Moon enjoyer.
Yeah, Broken Moon. I just don't know why I'm still playing it. You know, yes. Can I like I got like half a split. I got half a season off. And then it's just been so much Moon that, and it's just broken, and it's just not the most fun to play on, and it just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, it is what it is. I think Olympus is super fun. Always, I'm like stoked for Olympus Day. KC, not that bad when I'm really tired of playing on Broken Moon. And then when Broken Moon Day happens, you're just like, wow, what an opportunity to put in the work when nobody wants to and get that grit.
It's gritty. It's gritty for
but yeah,
sure.
no, Olympus, I really enjoy it. It's fun. And yeah, KC, like I don't mind it. Dude, I've been playing Wraith, just having a lot of fun. I'll just be portaling, just be off angling with a 30-30, and then whenever I do my thing where I over push and get a little overzealous, sometimes I'm able to get a Q off before I die, and then I just don't hard sell the fight. And it's been fun. I definitely was doing a lot of hard selling at some points this week, but I think we slingshotted crazy, and so the hard selling, I'd definitely be selling like every now and then, right? But for the most part,
yeah, no, I like
soaring.
that. I like that. Okay, so to get more to some of the positive things here.
I'll say this. Hold on, Wyatt. I think, okay, I know Enoch does not like Broken Moon. I think I don't necessarily know if I like enjoy it the most when it comes to ranked, but I do know that I probably get the most RP on those days because I feel like there's a lot more variables in that map, or I like the rotates more on that map comparatively to Olympus and KC that feel like super crammed. I don't know. That map, both of those maps to me feels like the POIs are a bit too close. And yes, Broken Moon does have the rails, but I think that there's more variety to it. It overall is a bit bigger map, so I don't know. I just think you can get away with more on Broken Moon than I think you can on KC and Olympus, but that's just maybe my own personal, like how my team has been playing whenever I'm playing with a group or whatever. But uh, maybe you don't. I think this is just due to Enoch having a 72 or 90-day split on one map.
Yeah, he did play the longest split ever on that map. But I don't think it's just that though. You remember back in high school if you ever had like a math class or like a science class right before lunch, like right before it, and you had to deal with like this 2 hour block
Yeah.
period where you had to just sit there and just wait for this to end, especially if it was like geometry or some bullshit. That's what Broken Moon feels like to me. Cause I remember when I would walk into the classroom after break, I'm like, dude, I have to do this for 2 hours before I get a break. 2 hours. I got to sit here and look at triangles. And that is how I feel when I see Broken Moon in the rotation. Whereas if I were to have PE before lunchtime, I would look at it like that's how I view Kings Canyon, because I'm like, oh, I get to just shoot a basketball around and like hang out with my friends in PE. That is like that's the difference. Is like Broken Moon just feels like a math or science. I kind of like science. It feels like a math class right before the lunch period. That's where I'm at with Broken Moon. If that even makes sense. I hope that made sense to some
No,
people.
that's a great analogy.
See, but regardless of what map it is, you can still use the Dirty 30 and feel like a cowboy and have fun, be a menace, and make the most of the opportunity at hand.
Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Okay, so getting more back to what I was going to ask before with Finn. So I kind of got some of the negative stuff out of the way with Enoch, some of the things that maybe people were looking at and like, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Getting more to some of the positives, things that we didn't expect, or maybe things that we talked about would be good that have been good and have been really positive. I would probably say ranked. Number one is one of those things where it has actually felt much more competitive. Now, I would like to see the numbers on the Masters players like we saw with last season, where we could kind of see the distribution of each rank. But I'm telling you right now, dude, these late end games are competitive. They're fun. They're tough. You actually have to think. You got to put some thought and effort into it. So, I mean, that's one of those. And then Revenant actually coming out and being like a very fun legend. Finn, anything else that you want to talk about more on the positive side of these were things that were maybe a surprise or things that were just good overall about season 18?
Okay, I think probably the biggest surprise, and maybe it's just because there's other guns, but I'm kind of surprised that not. I thought the Spitfire was going to be used a lot more. It's still really good, but I don't know. I still think it's really good. I think it definitely got a buff, but people just aren't running it right now. Why would you run that over the Hemlock?
Yeah, that's just the point right there. Like that's all it is that there's 0 point in running a Spitfire over a Hemlock. Because like the Hemlock is just like
Better.
the Hemlock and the Nemi are just medium range, like where the Spitfire is best. The Hemlock just outperforms it, and it's not even close. Especially if you're standing there on a Spitfire, getting shot at by a guy with a Hemlock, like you're getting 3 bursted.
I actually think that's a positive of the season. The fact that the Spitfire is kind of good, but people aren't using it. I think that's like a good thing, because the seasons we've had Spitfires be good in the past.
Spitfire meta is never fun.
Yeah, it's never a good time.
It's just I do think that it would be surprisingly. I would say that you might consider taking a Spitfire over the Hemlock on Revenant, just because I think the idea of being able to be like an actual like Terminator, shooting a Spitfire that you don't have to reload, get the knock, and not have to reload and just insta turn 75 HP and you're just gunning down the whole squad if you're able to play right.
I would say not having Seer in the meta at the current moment is also pretty fun.
Huge positive. Huge
Huge.
positive.
Like I just feel like that's
Huge.
an
Definitely slept
overall.
on. Definitely. Thank you, Fen, for bringing that up.
Thank
It's a
you.
really good change. Like if we're like I know ranked was kind of easy last season. Kind of. It was easy last season.
Come Let's be honest.
Okay,
Don't
but
be-
Seer was
Mhm.
also a big detriment. You know, it could definitely impair some people's fun having with how oppressive he was and strong. He is still strong. I think he is a little bit more niche now, and I do think he still might be played a little bit in comp. Based off of what we were seeing, he did have like what a 10% rate, maybe a 15% rate. So still being used, but a lot less. People are being a lot more experimental. That's the word.
Experimentative.
Experimented. Yeah, that.
Experimental?
Thank you. Yeah, but I think you're experimentative.
No, I think you were right.
No, I don't know.
No, you were right. You were right. I was just
But
throwing
yeah,
vowels
I
together.
think overall, not as many Sears equals W. More Gibbies equals W as well.
I don't think it's a coincidence that for the first time in like 5-6 seasons, Seer isn't like the number one legend, and a lot more people are enjoying it. I actually saw somebody on Twitter try to flame. I don't even remember who it was, but somebody was trying to flame this season, being like, I'm done streaming this. This season sucks, and all the replies were like kind of flaming him. And I was just like, yes, that's where we're at right now. And I think it's because Seer not being there does a lot more than people realize, I think. And that's saying something because everybody wanted Seer to be gone. But I mean, we didn't even mention him for the first 15 minutes of this discussion because we were just talking about all these different things. Whereas if Seer would have stayed where he was at, it probably would have been the first thing that we talked about, being like, yeah, all these changes are cool and the reborn legend is nice, but the fact that this legend is still here, like we can't really do too much. We can't really enjoy, the reborn legend. So I think that is probably up there top 3 of like why this season I think has been a success to start. Now, by the numbers, I should clarify and say this. Based on the numbers, it hasn't been like the craziest successful season, and I think that goes for a few reasons. I think it's because there was it wasn't technically a new legend, and there wasn't obviously no new map, no new weapon, things of that nature. But I do think the numbers will gradually climb up the more and more people realize, hey, the rank system actually feels pretty decent, and the guns are in a good place, legends are in a good place. I think it'll start to kind of develop that number right back up, because we had I think the number was more reflective of last season than this season.
So you think because of last season's kind of wearing, like it was kind of a wear down season, quote unquote, that it kind of felt like that kind of influenced the way people would perceive the new season of this, the beginning of this new season.
Yeah, because if you look at it from like an outsider's perspective, right? It's okay. I just played one of the worst seasons, in my opinion. I think a lot of people did not like last season. It was probably one of the lower times I've had in my history with this game. And then you look at it and you're just like, okay, they're not giving me anything really new. They're just reworking a legend. There's no map, there's no gun. The only thing really changing in the maps is they're adding stuff to mixtape, new maps to mixtape. I don't know if that's enough for me to feel justified in playing. And the rank system on paper, it actually looked very similar, But then when you read between the lines, you realize that they did make a very big adjustment to how things were being, accumulated, like the LP was being accumulated. So I think that is more a reflection of season 17 than 18. I think that number will go up. But I wanted to clarify that because we're talking like it's the greatest season ever, but the numbers aren't reflecting that right now. I think eventually it will, especially if they continue to do more content within the season. Like they kicked the season off with a collection event. I really wish that collection event would have came with like a special LTM or something like that. That would have been really nice. Add something new to mixtape. I think that would have inflated it more. Bring back one of the old classic LTMs. maybe solos, third person.
I was gonna
I only
ask
did
which
those
one.
once or twice. I always say third person right off rip. But if I had to choose one that they've used a bunch of times, I'd probably choose like armed and dangerous shotgun snipers. It's fun for the first few times. It's not going to keep you around forever. But if you throw it in the mixtape rotation, I don't think people are going to be like upset with it. Especially if it was like a team deathmatch, armed and dangerous, that might be interesting. Um, but yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that. But anything else more like on the positive side of season 18 so far?
Well, this just goes along with it. I think you were like, yes, they changed the way LP does. I think the biggest thing, bar none, is the MMR changes, where you're getting in games that are closer fit to your skill level, and I think overall that usually creates, more times than not, should be creating a higher quality experience for ranked, at least from a competitive view. Now,
And it's
some people,
substantially better.
what?
Substantially.
Right.
It's substantially better.
Like, you can just dude, I will say this. I've been playing ranked a little bit whenever I get off work, and there's just some unbelievably good players that are just on the game now. Like, I'm just getting gunned and I'm like, I just got gunned. Like, there's nothing I can do. That person just absolutely clipped me, and I have never heard of this person in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily a cheating situation. I think people are just gotten so good. And I've mentioned this before, but it feels like the skill ceiling for this game is just continuing to keep going up for the average player.
No, I was telling one of my friends that I was playing with this weekend. I was like, dude, I know for a fact that me right now would shit on me in the past, like when I was at my best in the past. But the players right now are so much better that my numbers don't reflect it at all. Because everybody's just so good now. Like it really, and it's a good thing. Like Apex became the game we knew it could be. It became that game where it was like, this is a mainstay. It wasn't going to die. A lot of people were calling it dead game after what, like season 1, 2. They're just
Dude,
like dead
season
game.
one, no, season
Mhm.
0 to season 1, bro. It was the most
It was a
doom and
long
gloom,
time. Yeah,
bro.
it was a long time. And I even remember like season 4 or 5ish. It seemed like it was just falling off a cliff. And then I was like, let me make a podcast about this game that's failing. So yeah, but I do think that players now are just so good that sometimes it's hard to remember that at the time where we were playing our best numbers wise, the player base wasn't as good as they are now. So I 100% agree with you. Like players now are just really, really good. Getting back to the MMR thing too, I've seen a lot of people complain in the casual community about being like, hey, like every casual game I'm playing, I'm getting shit on, and it's just like crazy sweats, and I'm just dying all the time. That could be because you got to masters, and you just kind of sleptwalked your way to it. I just hate to be that guy, but you might have that problem because you ratted your way to masters. Didn't want to be that guy. Didn't want to break the news to you. That might be why.
That's a very
So
interesting take. I actually haven't heard that before. That might
could
be the
be.
case, but
Could be.
I
I don't know how
have.
MMR works exactly, but I would assume it takes your rank into account.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, probably. I don't know how it works either, but I'm just guessing that more than likely. But I have seen like people are waiting a little bit longer in their queue times for even public matches, which I think is interesting. But I definitely have seen it in my ranked matches, like the queue times being a little bit more, which makes, in my opinion, that helps the game because people don't want to just sit in lobby and wait in queue anymore, right? Like they want to have good quality. I think that adds to the quality factor. There's a lot less 50-50 contests that I've also been seeing because people realize, oh, if I just die off rip, I'll lose minus 50 if you're in diamond minus 70. And those kind of sting after a little bit whenever you realize I'm only getting 150 per win, like, or 200 per win or whatever. Yeah, I think it's working as intended.
Dude, the minus 75s hurt, and it's awesome.
You want it to hurt. You
Yeah,
want
no,
it
it's
to hurt.
good. Like it's a good rank system, and it's fun to grind.
It's very fun.
Like it's actually like an enjoyable grind, and like Like last season, it literally felt like, okay, if I'm not running around the map trying to kill absolutely everybody, like, what am I doing? Because like that was like the only point. But like you actually have moments where you're like, dude, I'm just going zone. I got my 6 KP. We're good. We're chilling. We're going zone. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna get this LP. Then you make good plays in the late game, walk away with a good dub. You just didn't have any of that happening last season.
I have a take that I pitched to Finn. I think yesterday when we recorded the first part of the show, but I have a take, and I just want to throw it out there. I want to see what the community thinks. I actually think Fuse might be an S tier legend this season. I have a few reasons why I think that, but especially with the late games being as competitive as they are right now, his knuckle cluster along with the grenades and the map rotation that we're in, especially on like a King's Canyon where you can get stuck out in just a sandy area of just dunes, having a fuse and being able to use the ultimate. Not I didn't even mention the ultimate. You have that paired with just his ability to consistently just put like grenades down range on people, getting them off of their spots that they're trying to perch on and shoot you from. I've played so many games with a fuse, and it just makes the end games feel like you're always in control. And that's probably my hottest take I've had in a while. I feel like he's an S tier legend for this season. Obviously, he has to be matched up with like probably like a Bangalore or something, so he can move because he doesn't have a whole lot of movement. But I mean, I'm feeling fuse. I'm feeling like this is a fuse kind of season. What do you guys think?
I think that's more for E since he's played a lot more ranked than I have.
I just haven't been seeing too many fuses. I know Matching plays fuse, super annoying. Granting to complexity that they were playing fuse, super annoying. I could see it. I don't know if I think it's going to become something that's like mandatory, but like I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on. I don't know if I put an S tier though. Like it ain't that deep, you know.
I
Like
got
because like
an
if it
S
was
right
that
now.
deep, like everybody would be playing it in comp, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
TSM is. So I think that's part of the reason why people are experimenting more.
On what map?
World's Edge.
Okay.
But
I got
I
Jordan
mean,
on the
it's very
fuse.
similar to the thought process of what Furio was running back in the day. If you remember, like Zero would hop on the fuse every once in a while. Like, and I guarantee, I know that this is a Raven, like Coach Raven, special
Mhm.
type of deal. So I think he's happy.
For sure.
So
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
yeah,
That'll be fun.
I just wanted to toss that take out there, see what everybody thought.
the casual king Wyatt in his corner talking to his casual kings with him. Like his council.
Because there was fights that I had no business winning, but because one of my teammates was Fuse, and just getting them off their spot, it was like insane how quickly you can clean up a fight when you're just in their face with grenades or popping them in the ult. Like they're dead set in the middle. They can't move anywhere. They can't barely see because the flames are just piling up. They can't see anything. They try to walk out of it. They just highlight themselves, you know? It's more specifically for the late game. I felt like every time I had a Fuse late game, it was like the easiest cleanup of all time. But that's kind of why I position myself that way. I'm gonna test it out for the next week. I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll revert a little bit down on my take, but right now I'm feeling Fuse. I'm feeling them.
I have a sort of competitive update or things that are kind of going on right now. Was it MFAM Gauntlet or the Gauntlet just began? The Gauntlet League. I think that's Nick Merckx's league, and it's for 50K. It's like a solo league. It's exactly like Realm, essentially, but it was like invite only, and that is going on right now. What I think this is the second day. By the time you hear this, that'll be on the fourth day. But I had the results of so far with the overall standings. You got Verholst at number one, Orain, I believe that's how you say it, Ojrein, in second place, and then you have Effect in third, Big Louie in fourth. I don't know much about Big Louie. Number five, is Vane, 6th Jim Burton, 7th Mamba, 8 Ranches, 9th Uzako, and then 10th Zero. So it seems like it's pretty competitive because those are some pretty stacked names. I've definitely have seen pretty much every single one of those names at LAN. So like it seems like it's going really well. I've been enjoying it a little bit, watching some of the games that have been going on. They seem pretty competitive, and it seems like not that inty at all, which is a positive in a solo queue league. The second thing is Minus Tempo. Shout out Minus Tempo for at one point just hard carrying the scrims scene in pro league for a long time. But he is doing a cool format for scrims now for champ scrims, which is making it like tournament format. So they'll play Group A, Group B, and like do a mock tournament, and then they'll have like an elimination and a losers bracket, and then like a winners final and a grand final with match point and everything. I think that's really cool. I don't think we've done that before on scrims, and so shout out to Minus Tempo. I'm very excited to see the champ scrim results, and we'll hopefully be able to keep you updated on that. But I think that is happening this week.
Which I'm pretty sure Dojo won a day. I think they won today. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Which a lot of people were saying that they weren't going to do well when against like better competition. But like that team's nasty.
They are.
There were some big names in that lobby too.
Those like that team is just gross, especially if you got Enemy and Design both on the 30s.
Dude, I'm telling you,
it's just raps. Like that team is so good. Like the fact that like both Enemy and Design, they both play like the way of like as efficient like as you could. And they play together so well. It's cool to see.
I agree.
Just picking people apart with the 30s.
I need to get on it, I guess. I got to get on that 30-30 grind.
I don't know if we should be encouraging it. It's not nearly as toxic as the L-Star, like during the L-Star meta, but like getting hit by the 30-30 is not as fun. But I will say
it'll definitely get annoying. But I mean, yeah. Okay, go on, Finn. My apologies.
I know, you're fine. I was going to say, are we 30-30 supporters on this podcast, or are we going to be flaming people?
No, 100%. No, I'm gonna be honest. Even if it becomes meta, I'm gonna be like, I don't care. I'm having fun. You know, like even if everybody realizes that it's like that gun.
Okay.
Even if that happens, I'm okay with being like, okay, well, you know, it's that gun. Like, I'm having fun.
Dude, heavy ammo or heavy guns are pretty spicy in the meta right now. You got the Hemlock Flatline 30-30, like.
Car
too. Yeah, Car, man.
Car's really sturdy this season.
See,
we talked about it earlier.
I'm going to give you guys a chance on the 30-30, and I'm going to try using it because I fucking hated the Car ever since it dropped in this season. I literally, if my splits on games, if I don't have a Car versus if I do have a Car, are insane. If I don't have a Car, I maybe make it to like 15th. If I do have a Car, I'm feeling confident. One game I ran 2 cars. I put the 2 times on one and I put the 1 times on one, and I was just using both of them, and I did well in that game. Like the Car, I hated it for all intents and purposes, hated it. So if I can do the same with a 30-30, imagine 30-30 Car. If I can figure it out,
it's a good loadout.
Can we call it the race car? Because it's 2 cars. Or
I called it the 2-car garage. That's what I called it.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, let's do that. The 2-car garage loadout. I love that.
You know what's really messed up is like the first time I did it, I was trying to think of like a rap lyric in my head. I was trying to like make a lyric in my head, and I was going to write it down in my notes app about the 2-car garage. I just couldn't come up with one. I wasn't there. My brain mentally wasn't in the writing raps mode. I was in the middle of a rank game, but maybe I come up with a bar. You know, for the 2-car garage.
They'll call it the 2-door. They'll call it the 2-door for short.
The 2-door for sure.
Yeah,
I like that.
No, I said for short.
For short. 2-door for sure is good though too.
2-door for sure.
Yeah, dude.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
The 2-door, and then people will be like, "What's that mean?" And like the 2-door car garage.
Running 2 cars. 2
cars
have
garage.
doors, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is sick. Anything else, boys, before we throw it on down to our interview with Euriece?
Nope.
Anything else? No. Last comment for me is I'm pretty sure in the patch notes they said they took hammer points out. They did not. You can craft them.
No, they put them
and they're
in the
still on the
crafter. No,
ground.
they said that in the notes.
Yeah, they that's the thing. I thought when they said it was going to be Mozambique with hammers, I thought it was just like you were just going to get it all together in one, but you can just like craft it and it'll be right there. You just grab it and put it on an RE45. That was another thing I was doing. I was doing car RE45 with
why it's
hammers.
making the meta right now in gold lobbies or silver
Yeah.
lobbies right now.
Yeah, come
Look
my
out.
way.
Cooking.
Yeah,
Cooking.
I'm cooking up here. Okay, ladies and gents, let's throw it on down to our interview with Euriece. It was very interesting. We learned a lot about what he's trying to do with his future, including going from an all English stream to an all Japanese stream. Never even heard of something like that. Learn about his journey here in just a moment. We're going to hit a quick ad, and on the other side, Euriece. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with a very special guest. Today we have on Scarz, Euriece.
Hello,
Euriece,
hello,
my man,
hello.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I am feeling real good. And Finn, I know you guys had like an interesting way that you guys met back in the earlier days of Apex. Run through that real quick for everyone.
Yeah, so when I met Euriece, how it's almost been 4 years. It's now 3.5. Euriece was part of like the first, like I was doing scrims with Euriece, and I just remember being introduced by Kobe, and he was like, "Yo, this kid's cracked. Like, he's a 16-year-old kid. Like, he just is a pathfinder. He'll full send anything and kill anything in his way." I just remember like, okay, I mean, like I'll give it a shot. I mean, I was just now coming over from console to PC, and yeah, he didn't disappoint. One of the crazy stories that I remember that Euriece told me, it was like in the first like 2 hours of us playing together. He goes, "Yeah, I don't use a mouse pad," and I was like, "What?"
Oh my god,
Dude, I remember thinking like, do we need to get this guy a mouse pad? Like, if he's doing what he's doing without a mouse pad, we might like, dude, I'll send him one on Amazon. They can't be too expensive. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. That just like memories just like coming in, just flashing back. Yeah, I remember playing on my mom's desk, and it's just like my brother created that PC, and so I never really moved the PC, and I just the surface was smooth enough, and I'm like,
You didn't need it.
yeah, I never really.
At what point did you convert to being a mouse pad user?
I would say 1 year into Apex. Actually, it's that long. It's that long. I was never interested in like devices, mouse pad, monitors, all that stuff. I just like played the game, and just went from there.
So you've had a pretty storied career from all the way whenever I was playing with you to then playing, I mean, shoot, all the way to like the Torrent and I guess you could say HRN, like Alpine, and like you've had played with quite a bit of different people whenever it comes to Apex competitively. Do you have any fond memories of maybe some of your like the teammates that you've had and just any kind of like stories that you would like to share?
Mhm.
Or just like an overall like summary of like your Apex
Yeah, for those that
career,
don't
for those
know,
who
like that may
aren't
not be
as
familiar.
Yeah, so I first started playing competitively, I guess in the tier 2 scene with like, like with people like you, Viniki, when we used to play like scrims and stuff. And I kind of just went from like the tier 2, slowly like getting more recognized in the tier 1 scene by people like Hal. RKN was one of the person that really I guess really believed in my ability to play in comp, and I have a lot of respect for RKN for trusting in me in those early days because I was still a kid, and to be honest, like even now I'm still learning a lot of things, like for a game that we've been playing for over 4 years. And like just throughout those days I played with people like RKN, Zenial, Hill. Those were the most I'd say memorable people that I played with, since we spent a lot of time and actually tried to build a pretty structured team in the comp scene. And a lot of the memories are just like us bantering. And I'd say the best memories I've had in comp with my comp team is me, Arkian, and Zenial going to Japan together for like a tournament. It was supposed to be Rambo, but Rambo couldn't go, and Zenial went instead. And it was a first time for me to go on a different country. Like, I'm from the Philippines. I was in the Philippines until I was 12 years old, and I moved to Canada um since from 12 years old, and I've been living here since, well, until now. And I wouldn't call it like going to another country. I mean, it is going to another country from Philippines to Canada, but like I'm living here. I'm not like visiting. So when I came to Japan for the first time with RKN, and now it's like it was such a cool experience, and I actually felt like I I got to hear through a game, through playing a video game, and it was the best. Honestly, it changed my. I think it changed a lot of my perspective that I still hold on to today.
Dude, I remember Arcane was like, I don't care. I'm playing with Euriece. And like that man would just do whatever it took in order to run it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I'm kind of stuck. I've been stuck in the middle for a little while of like going back into comp, or committing to my current Japanese stream. I've been planning on moving to Japan for quite a while now, but since I'm still not a Canadian, I'm a permanent resident in Canada, but I'm not a citizen. So having that visa is like a really tough part. Not just honestly, not just going to Japan, but also for comp, since offline tournaments are coming back now. And that was like one of the main thing that that's been bothering me ever since I stopped comp, because even if like say like back then, even if we did qual, actually I wouldn't have been able to go to the land because of visa issues, because Philippine passport's really weak. And so I I've applied for citizenship like almost 2 years ago, and I should be getting it soon. And so while I'm on that wait, I want to like I don't want to be stuck in the middle, so I just kind of want to commit to doing one thing, and I want to go back to playing comp again. And I'm just kind of looking to see who I can like play with right now.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Is I knew, you did like I was gonna ask you about the transition out from playing with Torrent back in the day to then you kind of making the career change of wanting to do content creation, and you at that time you were still also, I think, like experimenting with like Japanese like specific streams and stuff like that, and you were learning the language and all that. I would love for you to go into that decision and kind of how that has shaped your career up until this point after comp.
Yeah.
You also gotta have the come up story. Like we gotta have like the full, because I mean you went from like being like just like a what I would consider like a fairly like normal. I mean, not that you're like different. I mean, like you are unique. More, there's just no way to. I'm just, it's not coming out anyway.
Yeah.
You're on a more unique style of streaming now.
Mm-hmm.
But just
No,
like the
yeah.
overall
Compared to before, no, 100%.
journey of how you, because you went from just like a kid who was grinding rank,
yeah,
playing
and that's
comp,
like common,
to
right? Like,
then you became a like Japanese superstar, and it's just people got to know the story.
yeah. So from how it happened, it's such a like you think it's just it's scripted, honestly. So Apex kind of went on this like stale rank system, or like I guess rank season where no one was really playing ranked, and so I'm like, sure, I'll just play solo. I'll solo queue. I just did this series where I solo queued to masters for every legend. Um, and I was one of the first people to actually do that solo to masters thing before it like everyone started doing it. So I guess that's pretty cool too. And I matched. So I usually do it in Tokyo servers because in Tokyo, in Japan servers, if they see you're a good person, they just follow you. In NA, that's not really a thing. They have their own thing in NA. But in Japan servers, they just follow you around, and that's what I really liked about playing in Tokyo servers. And so when I was playing in this Tokyo servers, I matched with a really popular um, Japanese streamer who I'm still currently friends with now, and his viewer recognized me from a video of Hal spectating me, like doing a big escape or like running with like movement with Octane, and someone recognized me from that video. I was like, "That's a pro gamer from North America. Like he's streaming right now." And so his viewers started going into my stream, and we won that game, which I think it helped with the fact that people like um grew a liking onto me. That was the first encounter with that person. His name is Unko.
What was the view count at pre that game and then post that game?
Pre that
like,
game,
you gotta know.
It was like 100 or like 80 to 100, I'd say, or even 60. I think maybe it was lower. But after that game, it was around like I think it reached 2,000 at one point.
Dude, that is so unreal.
Yeah,
and just in one Apex Legends ranked game, just an entire life change.
Yeah, no, exactly. And no, it's completely life changing. One ranked game just completely changed my life, in my opinion. And so that was that. It was like that started at like July, June, around that time, and we didn't interact. I never interacted with that person again after 6 months. Like for 6 months. But I still have some Japanese chat. My chat became I came from like I'd say I grew 100 to 200 viewers average from that day on forward. My chat was still English. There's a few Japanese people as well. It's kind of like half Japanese and English. I allowed the Japanese at that time, and I was trying to like manage English and Japanese chat. And so after that 6 months, I matched with that person again, and I think from there on it was just set. Like it just kept going. That time I gathered like 5,000 viewers at that second time, and I know more Japanese now because the first time we met I practiced more Japanese. And so at that second time we met, a lot more people went in my chat, and they stayed and like kept watching me. And it's kind of just this whole like I don't really interact as much with that streamer, but like there's some like I guess like he comments about me or like make comments about me on his stream. It's like it's kind of like just those small you would call it like what do you call that on Twitter when you tweet about someone, not at them?
Subtweet?
Subtweet. Yeah, it's kind of like subtweeting, but on like sub live, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of
like, man, that Euriece guy is great.
Yeah. It's kind of like just like that.
4K viewers.
Yeah. It's like, hey, this streamer said you're great again. Like, yeah, it's kind of just like that, like the interaction.
Dude, that is such a cool story. That is so, like that. I feel like that's just. I think in content creation, it's so amazing because like you're always just like one moment away, like one video upload, like one tweet, one ranked game away from just everything changing, and like you never know when it's going to be, and like so it could always be that next one.
Yeah. So that happened, and like from there on I started getting more involved in the Japanese community. I got to know more Japanese people. I started studying more Japanese, and that's kind of like I guess it was peaking I at one point I got invited to this Japanese solo tournament. I got 40,000 viewers. My peak, 40,000 for like an arena tournament, and I like I still can't comprehend I even got that number even these days. Like that, it was insane. And so after that peak, of course, slowed down a little bit. And of course, with comp, I was still doing comp at the time. And after our, like, me, Arkian, and Bo, we didn't really do well together. A lot of things was going on there. And after that ALGS split, it went like I guess when things go wrong, I think like almost everything just goes wrong altogether. And so like after that split one, I stopped comp for a little bit because of the whole visa thing, and so what happened is I kind of got into a slump. Like, shoot, like, do I still want to continue this like Japanese content creation thing, or do I want to go back to like the English content creation thing? Because I trust my viewers enough to, I think a lot of people would stay even if I did just speak English and have my chat as English. And that's like a completely different path I'm gonna take. And like, do I want to commit to that? And at that time, I was going to Japan, or like planning on going to Japan because I was invited to a tournament. And so I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna make this like the set decision, like the decision maker, because at the time I was like a really low point in my life. Like I went in I look back at it now, it's funny. It's like on a heartbreak, and it's like a 2-year relationship just ended. It's like the comp stopped playing comp, so I'm like, shit. Like I'm in a really bad mental state, and so I'm like, okay, I'll make this trip to Japan like the decision maker. I'll see if I'm gonna go back to English after this trip, or will this make me fall in love with the Japanese community more. And so I went to the trip. It was with RKN, with Zenayo, and the moment I stepped into Japan, I just knew. I just knew. It just clicked into me. It's like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'll commit to I'll commit to the Japanese community, and I'll learn more Japanese. I'll do what it takes to be able to grow in the Japanese community more. And here we are still.
So that leads into just speaking Japanese in the language itself. How has that adjustment been? Because that's crazy to think. So this would be your third language, correct? Yeah, like that is insane. And I've actually found it seems like people who speak more than one language typically speak like 4 or 5 or 6. It's kind of crazy. It's like it almost like it comes a little bit easier to you. Mm-hmm. Have you had how much of a struggle has it been, or how much has it been easy for you to learn Japanese?
Learning Japanese, I'm still learning Japanese, and I wouldn't even say I'm close to being fluent. It is such a hard language. Compared to my first and second language, which is the Philippine language and English, it's like completely reversed, like everything. I had to like pretty much create a new brain for it, like a take part of my brain and like throw out all the knowledge I know with the language and just throw Japanese in there. And it's like even now I'm still like connecting all the pieces, like you learn from the start, and then once you got better, it's like, oh, that's how you do that, or that's how you like. It's been such a crazy journey, and I think just getting involved, or like always just hearing it every day, seeing it every day, kind of marinates in your brain, and it gets easier day by day. But there's just still so much to learn.
Now, is it harder speaking it or writing it? As in, like typing and stuff?
It's harder to type it, actually. Because there's also spoken language, the Japanese spoken language, and they're pretty like you can communicate through like body language, through the context. But when you're typing or writing, it's kind of just like you wouldn't know what the person is saying through a type, right? Like so, it's like hard to comprehend what they um try to tell you if it's not completely correct.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you have your chat is all Japanese. Are you able to just fluently read through it
Um,
as you would be with any other language?
so I have two chats, but it's the same chat. I have a translated chat and just the Japanese chat. So I can read most of the kanji and hiragana and katakana. That's what they call their letters. I can read most of the most basic ones, the most used ones. Um, but the hard ones, I look at the English and then I look back and it's like, okay, I still know that word, but I'll have to know the context or the meaning before I can translate it in my head. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So you try your best to look at the Japanese chat to try
Yeah.
to, you know,
Mhm.
transfer it over. You're not just staring at the translated one the
Yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah,
time.
exactly,
Just
exactly. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
It's
I was gonna
insane.
say because that is crazy, dude. Like that is actually so insane. And I just want you to know that doing that, taking that extra step to like move into this whole new area, this whole new version of streaming. Has anybody else done this? Like this is crazy. I feel like this should be a much bigger story. You know?
Um,
Like this is insane.
if I try to think, no one pops in my head like that's like done like a whole like a whole transition and gotten this far. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't really think of anyone that's tried to do it. And
Well, I mean,
The
it's
only person
incredible,
I can
man.
even think of would be your fellow Scarz member, Kine. Because I know
mm,
he has like a translator
mhm,
going on, and I think he's been practicing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Japanese. Have you guys ever practiced Japanese together at all?
We played. I think I remember a day when we played together, and we were only like trying to speak Japanese. And at that time, I think I was also like still pretty like learning as well. So it was pretty.
Hmm.
It was pretty fun actually.
That's cool. That's cool that you guys like. That's just like a experience that few streamers will have the
Yeah.
opportunity
Oh, actually,
to do.
recently, I'd say the closest person to me right now is RPR. Um, he is also
He took on the VTubing world
yeah.
by
Oh
storm.
yeah,
That man.
he's doing well on that actually. I'm really proud of him on that. Like I think that's like a pretty also a pretty big transition or big step, and I'm glad he's doing well on it. He's also just learning Japanese, and we talk a lot like off stream, just like his what he wants to do, and he pretty much has the same goal as me. It's like living in Japan one day and doing content creation in Japan. It's like one of same goals we have.
So crazy.
Yeah, like it really is just a crazy story. It's really cool, and I gotta get back to the opus of this being that you want to make it to Japan. You talked about the trip that you took to Japan. Um, what is it about the country that made you fall in love with it so fast and made it to where you landed and you were like, yeah, I'm completely switching off English. I'm going to Japan and I'm streaming for my Japanese viewers. Like what about that country brings that out of you?
Um, I think the biggest factor was it's just how I felt while I was there. Um, so I think a lot of people, a lot of streamers already know this. When you're a streamer, you're always just looking at the numbers every day. It's just like thinking of content creating. What do you want to what do you want to create? Not really like living in the moment. Even if you do something great at that time, you won't really like you won't appreciate it. And when I was in Japan, I actually felt like I was present. Like I was there with the people around me. I can feel like the atmosphere, the like when it I just felt like I was actually present, and it's such a unique experience that it's so hard to like pinpoint the exact like reason, like there could be so much affecting my reasoning on why I want to live there, but one of them is definitely just I just felt present while I was in Japan.
That's awesome, man. That is really, really cool. Now, this is just something I've learned from my life experience is whenever you're around people who speak a different language than you, they, at least this is just my experience, but they always try to teach me the slang of that language. And I'm sure that Japanese has some slang to it. Is there any Japanese slang that you've picked up on over just reading chat? I'm sure there has to be, dude. There's got to be people typing something in chat.
Yeah, no, 100%. Oh, thinking of one like on the spot is
By
kind of
slang,
hard.
I usually mean curse words. Usually you learn
Yeah.
usually you learn the curse words
So-
first.
Throughout my chat, of course, I picked up I'd say like a pretty trolly chat, and I love them for that. And you'd expect it's I was it's in the internet forever, and every time I meet new people in Japan, they always show it to them like a clip of me saying in English, you say it when you rage, but in Japan, it's kind of something you don't. It's kind of like a bigger deal in Japan, and so I was just watching a video in Japan, or watching a video, and I was looking at chat, and this guy is just like, "Dude, shut up!" I was like, I said his name. And at the time, I did not know what that name meant, so I just said, "Shut up," and then his name. And and that is the start of an internet tattoo of me saying "shut up, stupid pussy" in Japanese. And yeah, they just show that to everyone I play with, I collab with, and I'm surprised they haven't like get me off their friend list. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. It's just the funniest part of learning any new language whenever you're around
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
They always get you with that.
Mhm.
Like I've had situations very similar to what you said. We're like, hey, go tell that guy this.
Yeah.
And it just means like, hey, how are you doing? And then you go over there and
Mhm.
you just see the anger on his face. You're just like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've been there before. But that's awesome, man. It is interesting too that you say it's like a trolley type chat. Like,
Ooh, yeah.
you know, it's hard to fathom sometimes when you only speak one language how it would transfer into another language, another culture. You mentioned earlier that the difference between NA and Japanese viewers is Japanese really just want to see someone who's good. I feel like NA is like a mixture of they want to see like a shit ton of personality and all this other stuff, effects, whatever it may be. Is there anything else that kind of stands out about Japanese viewers over NA other than just the fact that they just want to see you be good? Is there any other thing that's kind of interesting about them?
Yeah, so I got really lucky. Like I already got lucky with matching, but like with the viewers that I was able to gather, they're they're not viewers from Apex. Like they're viewers from a streamer who I played Apex with, and that streamer plays like a lot of video games, and he just does a lot of things like IRL stuff, YouTube, and like so those viewers are already accustomed to not just one video game, and so what I'm really fortunate about is like they would like watch me play anything and watch me do anything, pretty much cook, go outside, play other games, and I think that's pretty like rare in my opinion, especially if you're like known for like a video game, or like say you're known for Apex and you switch to like a different game. Of course, you're like a big dip on your viewership, and I don't actually sometimes have more viewers doing like IRL stuff or like other video games than Apex, which is I think it's like one of the coolest things. They just watch you do like anything, pretty much.
I was gonna ask, what are some of what are some of your favorite games that you played that are not Apex that you have kind of found yourself enjoying?
Um, I played this game. So in the Japanese community, they do a lot of these community games or whatever. And my first time was getting to play it. It was Rust, and it's just kind of like a role. No, I wouldn't say role play, but like a community server Rust, and it was so fun. At that time, my Japanese wasn't even that good, but I was having so much fun just interacting with like a lot of people, trolling them in Rust, and it was. I think Rust has the best, like, I'd say, other than Apex, memories for a video game I have.
Yeah, I just remember there being one point where you were literally just you were streaming whatever. Like it was just
Yeah.
was it a cooking stream? Were we going on a stroll?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It was like you never know what this man is gonna be doing. And yeah, you always had like easily over like 1,000 people.
Mhm.
Like even if it was just like you just
Yeah.
chilling,
Yeah.
sitting around somewhere, just talking.
Yeah.
It would just be like, and just, everybody's just
Yeah.
not. And so that's cool to see.
Mhm.
And it's definitely something that you don't see on Twitch hardly ever.
Mhm.
People keep that consistent in numbers. So it truly is something impressive.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we talked about before on we started recording was the background. Like we, Wyatt asked the question of what you ate today, and you said it was a traditional kind of like what your mom made. And I know we talked a lot about the Japanese culture, but can we talk a little bit about the Filipino culture that you grew up in, and how that has kind of shaped and influenced you as a streamer, and maybe like maybe some things that your family has taught you. Since I usually Wyatt's the one that's asking this question because he loves the family questions, but how has it been on top of that, having like family support throughout this journey?
Um. So growing up in the Philippines is kind of like well, my family, at least from the Philippines, they were kind of like into the traditional um life path of, like, you gotta finish school, you have to finish school. After you finish school, find a wife, get a job, marry, have some children, that type of like stereotypical, life path. And so when I started playing video games, and streaming it, and when I started, I guess, I don't know what exactly drove me, besides the fact that I was just addicted to playing Apex. um my family wasn't really very, like, fond of it at the first. Of course, like, if you're not bringing in like money to feed yourself, like, of course it's not going to be like sustainable. And so when I started gaining more viewers, the first like paycheck comes in, and it's like, okay, maybe you're doing something here, like, they weren't trying to stop me from it. Of course, for me, I think one of the best way that I approached it was, I wasn't I didn't stop. I didn't completely commit to streaming first. Of course, I managed school and streaming at the same time. And um I guess that's what really helped me kind of prove them that I'm not just like, throwing my life away playing video games. I think that's one of the most important thing, especially for people that are trying to, like, get into like content creating. Like, you shouldn't instantly dive in, like, without knowing anything. And at the time I was just a kid, so I didn't. Of course, I made the right decision of like not just thinking, oh, I'll make it big. I don't need this. I still manage school. I still manage school and Apex at the same time, and I think that's what kind of relieved, I guess, or like put ease in my parents, like, way of thinking of that. I have to finish school, and that's the only way to life. And so I think I was pretty lucky. um my mom's supportive. She still tells me to go to school, but like, you go to school eventually. and my dad as well. He supported me like throughout like the early of my career. It's like helping me like set up the streams and stuff on the background and all that. So yeah.
So was there ever that moment? I think sometimes it's gradual, but I do think for a lot of things there is that one moment where they get it and it just clicks. And it could be you winning a tournament, could be seeing like one of the days. I mean, I would assume like them seeing you being playing games in front of 40,000 people, they'd be like, all right, maybe he's legit. But was there was there like a moment your parents were like, okay, I think he actually is going down the right path, and we're behind it 100%, or was it more gradual?
I would say mine is a little more gradual. I think I had to really prove myself that I could like, it's sustainable and what I'm doing, and what I'm doing isn't just like, it won't get me nowhere. Um, because I think the timing was also like with the whole COVID and everyone's on lockdown, that gave me a lot of time to kind of like, okay, like they can't, like, I'm doing my school, like, I'm not really like, wasting time, I guess. So they kind of just like let me do whatever I want to do. And until before I graduated, luckily enough, that's the time, I was already like made a name for myself to and also like bring enough viewership, bringing enough like paychecks. So before I graduated, so they couldn't, they didn't really say anything to me after, or like before that, because I think the timing was really perfect for me.
That's good, man. That's awesome. Um, Moving off of the come up and the family stuff, let's get into just a little bit of Apex right now. You said you were thinking about wanting to get back into comp. Obviously, the visa situation is tough because if you guys were to pop off, you'd probably have to stay back at least for right now, until hopefully that situation got figured out. As far as like comp goes, how serious are you about getting back into it? Because it seems like you got a good thing going with the stream right now, learning the language, doing all that. Do you think that might throw too much onto your plate, or do you feel like you're ready for it right now?
um I actually was talking to someone about it. They were like, they told me that it's so obvious that you're not 100% going back into comp. And I'm like, is it that obvious that I'm just kind of like, I guess, stalling right now, since I'm like waiting for my situation to get figured out? Like, is it that obvious that I'm stalling? And so the person was like, just commit, like, just commit this year, and whatever the result is, go do your Japan thing next year. You have the all the time in the world right now, and you shouldn't rush into it. And so like, um, after that, I was like, okay, you're right. Like, I am just stalling, and um, I did say I was going back into comp, but like, I've been like, just yeah, just I've been just stalling and trying to see where it takes me. And I think I'm gonna take a more serious approach into it. And um I like, thing with right now is, since it's the downtime of like, the tournaments and stuff, a lot of people that are that I would want to play with are like still not sure if they want to get into like a committed team. And like, I think I am going to finally like commit like my all for like one last time into comp. I changed my schedule for it. I'd attend like all the scrims, and I'd give it my best for one last time. And I think I'd call it there and commit to my whole content creation thing like after that.
Okay, so we're looking for a team right now. We're looking for people who are committed and need somebody on their squad. I think this would be a great opportunity. to start talking about yourself as a player, as a pro player a little bit, give you a nice little interview here. What is your best attribute that you could contribute to a team trying to eventually win, the whole damn thing?
Yeah, so before, I've always been seen as like this guy that's gonna beam everyone, as like the fragger, I guess. And so as time goes on, people improved in Apex more. Like the whole meta shifted from when I was a pro to up until now. And I actually hate mentioning this, like, already, like the whole controller thing. I don't even talk about it. Like, um, I think it's just an overly talked about like thing, and it's like, I think I've already accepted the fact that a good controller player will be better than me, if they want to be a fragger. If I want to be a fragger, and if I'd want to be a fragger, I think I'd have to be like insane. Like my aim is flawless, like flawlessly good. And I've already concluded that, like, throughout my career and my recent, like, I guess, more journey into myself, I think I'd love to be a support more than the person who shines in the squad. Like, I'd support that guy that wants to push everyone, and like, just he knows I have his back. I think I'm really good at, like, observing what my teammates are doing, um, and like playing off of them, and like offering them that support, and making sure it's like, oh, some like making sure they don't get pushed on the left side if they're trying to push like on a certain like angle, making sure we don't get flanked, and like all those support role. I think I'm willing to take on and accept the fact that I think support is my role.
It's kind of wild because that was like it's pretty much the complete opposite of whenever you left, right? So
Yeah.
like where you were like, I'm just full sending, I'm just better mechanically, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna beam this person and kill them. Well, now it's kind of shifted to where the roller is now upon us type of deal. But I think you have a really solid mindset, and what you mentioned that you said you're really good at like observing, and I think if you look at the best supports that are in the like pro league right now, if you think like reps are fun, like those players are mechanically very very strong, but they do fill that role of support super well. And so I think you have the mechanical skill for it, and you said that you obviously have the mindset for it. Now it's just kind of putting it into practice. It is I think you nailed it on the head. It's a kind of a weird time right now because we're waiting for champs to happen, and then I think a lot of roster turnover is going to happen, and then that's whenever you're going to be able to kind of have those tryouts and those things. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're excited for you. It's going to be nice to see your name back in comp again, is what I'm saying. Just from the amount of plays that you've done in your past, I'm just so excited to be able to watch you in this new role. But dude, I'm pretty excited. We do this segment called Double Tap, and so I'm going to say 5 either
Real quick,
questions or statements.
Before you get into this,
say that again.
can I ask one more comp related question?
100%.
So I know at one point there was a possibility of you teaming with Prodigy Aces and Goat. Is there any chance that team happens? Because I'm gonna just say I think that team would be super fun to watch.
Prod and Goat, huh? Yeah, like, so that is a very interesting question indeed. There was a time where me and Prod and Goat would have been the squad for the ALGS, and we'd be trying to create like something. But like, I think we were all at just like a different, honestly, it's like a different mindset at that time. Because I think with Prod too, I don't know. I don't really talk to Prod that much. Maybe he has his own stuff going, but like, that man slept, man. That man slept. And you go too, man. Go attended an interview. It's like it was a lot of like shambles thing, and like I wouldn't completely um I guess remove that out of the equation, but
Mhm.
for now it is not looking bright.
Options wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
My grandpa would always say it's always about your options. And so
Exactly.
yours are open. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. All right, Fen, my bad.
No, you're
My
good.
bad.
So we're gonna move into a portion that we've kind of been doing on the show. It's called Double Tap, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you 5 statements or a question, and then you just reply with like 1-word answers or 2-word answers, depending on if you can, and we'll try and go as quickly as possible.
Okay.
All right,
Oh,
you
God,
ready?
I'm so bad with this. Yeah.
No, I guarantee you're gonna nail it. All right, you ready? Number 1. Which language is more fun to say, Japanese or English?
Japanese.
Number 2, your favorite anime.
Haikyuu.
Number 3, hardest part about ALGS.
Zone rotations.
Number 4, Pathfinder.
Grapple.
Number 5, favorite memory when playing competitive Apex.
Hitting a 1v3 with a Kraber on a dome fight.
Oh, I remember that so vividly, dude. That was insane. Bro, it's like that's the type of stuff that I'm really excited to see again, you know? Like, and you know that you can pull it back, you know, you can pull that
Yeah.
off. So I'm just like, I'm ready to see it. I'm just ready.
I just looked, like, this isn't even a question. I just looked at your pinned tweet. What the fuck was that? Can you just go through that pinned tweet real quick? I need your
classic.
explanation on how you pulled that off.
Yeah, for those that
I've
don't
watched
know,
it 4
yeah.
times now.
Yeah, for those that like can't, you know, that are just listening on audio, Euriece is gonna give a breakdown of.
Give a breakdown of this claim.
Yeah.
This is crazy, dude.
The classic. Yeah. I mean, at that time, I was just like, I actually do think I am better than as a player now than that clip. But I think at that time, I was just like enjoying the game and like, you know, just doing whatever. And, you know, you just gotta go for the shots. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I believe in that.
And Gretzky said that.
Yeah, for those that don't know, he's playing in Underlook, which is the spot in between Overlook and I guess it would be East Frag. And he's sitting on top of a garage building. He has a Kraber. He hits 3 headshots in a row, and then somebody else shoots at him. He hits an octane pad, does 3 360s. So what? That's a 920?
Yeah.
And then hits a nice no-scope on the guy, and it insta-kills him. And it's just an absurd clip that you would think looks staged. It's not. It's not staged at all.
It's dude.
It definitely deserves the 57,000 likes.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely deserves the 57K.
The reaction.
No one will say that you didn't earn it.
Yeah, the reaction after you hit it you just dropped the headset and walked off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Mic-
That is so
mic drop.
crazy. If you're listening on audio right now, you need to go watch this clip right now. At Twitter at Real Euriece. Just watch it. It's insane.
It's literally
It is
top
real
10
Euriece,
probably best
not
clips.
real Euriece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
always get that wrong, man. Please. It's your
Yeah, hold on,
it's
say that
E before
again.
the
E.
I.
I
Your
cut
ice?
you off. I think. Here, E. What? Say it again.
Oh, I was just saying that for those to be clear, that it's real Euriece on Twitter, not real Eurice,
Yeah, exactly.
which is a very common, mispronunciation.
Man, that is absolutely insane. I'm just leaving it, like it just keeps playing over and over again. I'm just gonna leave it until this interview is done. But okay, Euriece, obviously, we talked about comp a little bit. We're in season 18 right now. There's been different phases of comp. Do you feel like what you were talking about earlier with the type of player that you would be, do you feel like that could translate right now with how the game is playing right now? And do you think you would enjoy this version of competitive? Because we've gone through so many different phases, so many different metas. Where do you find yourself with the meta right now?
With what I've seen from the comp meta so far, I think I do prefer it than the previous comp meta, because I think with currently how it plays out, it it definitely, the team with the most efficient, with the most efficient with zone rotating and their team fights gets the most consistent placement and like results. And I think that's that's the most important part in like competitive. It's just like the consistency. And like with the previous meta and like with the meta I played, it was kind of like a whole, like a lot of changes happening in the game, and so it's kind of not a stable meta. And like even like right now, even though like there's changes happening, there's still like a staple or like a set meta with like Catalyst, um with Bangalore, and those type of meta. And I think I do a really good job with how the meta plays out, because of how this meta kind of, you just, I think this meta highlights your team fights, because a lot of times with the zone, like when you don't get the zone, you have to fight for a spot. And like with team fights, when you just gotta win your team fights, and a lot of times, like a lot of things goes into just one team fights. It could change like your entire tournament and whatnot.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. You want to hit him with it?
Of course. So, Euriece, the question that I ask everybody who comes on, because everybody who comes on is basically performing at the top 1% in their field, and you certainly fit that category. What would be one piece of advice that you've learned along the way to get to where you're at that somebody could apply to anything that they were trying to get into the top 1% in their life? Yeah.
I think a lot of I think one of the things that I always constantly keep in mind is like you have to like believe in yourself. And I think like even for people with like not that big of confidence for themselves, you still have to tell yourself that you can manage it. And like even if like even if you don't see it, because your mind will tell you like things you don't want to hear, and it's just for everyone. And you just gotta believe that you can actually pull it off, and like don't listen to what other people say or compare yourself to others. I think that's one of the best, like the key into like improving and taking a lot of, getting to more achievements, I guess.
That's good, man.
Great
That's really
answer.
good. Well, Euriece, this has been awesome, man. And we learned a lot about what's going on. And I'm sure a lot of people out there had no idea, kind of the path you were on with streaming. And I really applaud it. I think it's really, really cool. I had one last question about it, though. How much has Twitter's translate feature helped with also you grasping the language? Because I just scrolled through Twitter right now and I realized I could read all of your tweets by clicking the translate button. So that's pretty sweet. Like, has that helped you? Has that helped you out a lot?
Yeah, actually, when I first started getting into the Japanese community, it's like, okay, I follow these people that are, well, of course their tweets are mostly Japanese. And so like I would use that command, or like the little translate tweet, and I'd like see what the word says and like read it, and it's like see the English. I'm like, oh, okay. So it kind of gives me the grasp of like how people would wouldn't casually say things, because there's different like with formality and like you just casually tweeting stuff, talking to your friends. And yeah, I'd say it helped a lot with learning the language.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's probably, I would assume you probably try to read it before you click
Yeah,
translate
yeah,
and then
yeah.
just see how close you got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
There you go. There you go. All right, man. Well, this has been a pleasure, and hopefully we get to see you playing in comp again pretty soon. And when that's the case, we would love to have you back on, talk about your team, and hopefully maybe you guys add some trophies. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it, my man.
Mhm.
Once again, thanks for your time and thanks for hopping on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much
Thanks,
for
bro.
the invite. This is such a cool thing. Like, you guys do this. I appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gents, let's get into some of the Discord questions here. Now, if you guys aren't in the Discord right now, you very well should be, because that is where a lot of the stuff goes down. You can find teammates. You can do whatever you like. Ask us questions. Talk to us. Talk to the fellas. We got some questions here under the Ask the Podcast tab, because it is the dog days. We're still kind of waiting for champs to pull up. So we're going to answer some questions here, then get into the heart-to-heart. First question. This one comes from Proxy. Thoughts on the upcoming meta after these balance changes? Now, we did talk a little bit about it in the intro here. I guess I'll curve this one to make it a little bit easier to answer here. What do you think will be the biggest change that a lot of teams will be having to make after this recent patch? Just the biggest one in your opinion, whether it be a legend they need to run, a weapon set they need to use, rotation, whatever it may, like avoiding Broken Moon on Broken Moon Day, whatever they need to be ranking up this current season. What do you guys think they need to be doing?
Well, if we're talking, you're gonna have to help me out on this, but I think if we're talking specifically comp, I think very obviously, I don't think people are gonna be crafting the Nemesis. I mean, I think they might, some might, but I think the Hemlock kind of fits that role pretty well right now.
100%.
So
It's just like it's an instant. It's an instant. Like, everybody who used to be using the Nemesis, they're just using the Hemlock.
So I think there's gonna,
Unless they're the rare breed of people who are out there who are crafting a Nemesis. And I'm not gonna lie, I have crafted a few, just a few.
so you're the
couple.
issue.
A couple.
At least
Only a couple Nemis. Only a couple Nemis when the days were bad. When the
but I think the Hemlock is going to be a strong meta. I do think you're going to see a lot more M&K people running shotguns. Like, I think you probably won't see roller players running them unless it's Ruptors only. But I think even non-Ruptor shotguns, I think you're going to see M&K people run it. I also think 30-30 is still going to stay as strong as it's always been. I think people are also going to still use a charge rifle just a little bit less. But I think that's probably... I think the R9 is still usable heavy. Like, I still think most roller players are going to run the R9. And I think maybe Wyatt said it earlier. I guarantee it. That Fuse is going to make his way into comp, and I've seen TSM run it in scrim so far. Interested to see if it is going to continue by the time that this comes out. If people are still running Fuse, since I know that Minus Tempo is running, tournament prep scrims. But I think Fuse is going to maybe potentially make his way into comp, since Seer has kind of lost his sting. Let's be honest here, though. This is great. It's great to have Seer out of the meta at least a little bit. But I think Fuse is another thing, something to keep an eye out on. E, do you have anything comp wise?
no, I think you summed comp wise pretty well. I don't have anything against what you said. I thought you covered everything pretty well. When it comes to ranked, I would like to say it is somewhat of a wake up call, and like, if you are going to approach it the same way as what you approached season 17, you're just gonna get rolled through. Like, teams are a lot more with it. People want it more. You gotta, like, if you're not getting like good placements, you're just not walking away with points at all. And when you lose them, you're losing them way more than you did, and so they actually add up. And so it's a really nice rank system the way it's playing out right now. I will say I'm fairly impressed with how well it is working. I think it's a really good balance between where we were at, and it's not as far and as punishing as like season 13. It's definitely, but it's like way closer to season 13 than we were last season. and it is making people like play ranked again. Like there are people like you'll get to spots where you're like, okay, I'm not going to fight this team because there's probably a third party. Where the last season you were just like, oh, let's go, and who cares? Like, what's up? Like, I'm not going to not take the fight, but like there are times where you're not going to take the fight, and so there are more late games. Everything is looking good, and unfortunately, more cheaters to go along with it. So you got to be watching out for those.
Yeah.
Definitely. Apparently, somehow the anti-cheat isn't working right now. Apparently, I don't know, but yeah, definitely way more of them than there was last season. I think I've ran more in the last week than I did all of last season, but it's not nearly as bad as it has been in the past. And so in terms of like the amount of cheaters, it's not too crazy. I did run into a guy whose name was 4-3 linear JK. I'm rage cheating. And I died to him. Yep. I absolutely got smoked by a Havoc, and I was really just like, wow. I was like, I thought I got shot through a wall. Like, I was like, there ain't no way. And then he was cheating. I was like, wow.
For ranked, though, I would say, do you see, I mean, this is maybe something good for Wyatt. I'd love to have your answer, Wyatt. Is there anything that you've noticed in your games, meta-wise, that has changed from whenever you were playing ranked last season or maybe the season before?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't really play ranked last season. I just didn't see the point in it. And I think that also kind of goes into the cheating situation. I feel like cheaters were just like, why do I need to cheat when it is this easy to level up? And I think now they like he said, he's rage cheating because it's so much harder to come by LP now. So they have no choice. I think that does play a role, as stupid as that sounds. But yeah, I didn't play a whole lot last season. I will say my thing for the casual community is, and this is fun. I'm when I say this, I mean this is fun again. Like me and my boys are sitting in Discord and we're having to forego our legends that we just like to play in order to create a much better comp so that we can rank up better and have a better situation, which is something we haven't done in so long. And to just have that like little conversation with your boys, calling them up at work, being like, hey, bro, I think we swap out this and put this in. What do you think? And then like having that conversation, like at least that's what me and my friends do. I'm sure there's a lot of casuals like me who do that too. And it's just a good way to get your mind off of work for 45 minutes or something. But that has been really fun, coming up with different comps, pitching ideas, doing all that. So that's kind of the thing we've had to change. Like I love playing Lifeline, but right now I don't know if she's very, good. The only thing she really brings utility wise is helping you get the armors a little bit faster, because the armors did I think it was a 30% nerf or 20% nerf, and same with the attachments. Other than that, she really doesn't offer too terribly much. So we've had to talk like going through different comps and trying to find different things to come up with. And I really enjoy that. I'll also say I saw a lot of tweets saying like the end games were bad, like 3 squads again, and the games were ending super quick. Dude, I have had the complete opposite, and it may be my rank, but every late game, there's 6-7 squads. I feel like I'm in the ALGS. I was telling Finn before we started the pod, like I had never had to worry about rotates before, because I would just do whatever I wanted in my rank, and I could just kind of get away with it. But I got hit on like 3 bad rotates, and I had to explain back in the lobby like, hey, my bad call by me. I've never had to do that. Like I actually felt like I was playing meaningful games for the first time in forever. And now I know what it feels like to have a bad rotate and be like, dude, I shouldn't have made that call. I should have done it differently. That we rotated too late. Like, why did we do that? Why did we take the middle of the zone when we don't have any controller to lock down where we're at? Like, these are things that I'm having to think about now as a casual, which to me is super, super fun. So I don't know if I really answered your question at all, but I'm just having so much fun playing ranked again that it's actually pissing me off when I get off. And it's good that I'm pissed off. It's like a good pissed off. It's not I'm getting pissed off because I got cheated, or I played for ever and every single late game was like one squad left, and there was no real hardness to it. It actually feels like I am competing for something, which feels great. I love that so much. And in my own little world of knowing that I'm never going to be on a main stage anywhere, that's what I want. I know not every casual has that same mindset, but that's what I want. And it's been super fun. And I'm excited. Like, this is the most consistently I've played in a long time. And I had 2 sessions this weekend where I stayed up till 4 a.m. Dude, I haven't done that in years. Like, years. I did not want to get off. I wanted to keep going and going and going. And we couldn't finish a late game. And we were trying to figure out why. Every single time 3 squads left, or like 6 to 3 squads left on final circle, you're trying to figure out dude, it feels good to play again. It feels like I'm actually fighting for something, which last season, the only person that was fighting for anything was Weeps, holding on to the number 1 spot. That was it. So it feels good, man. It feels really, really good.
It's great. It's a great answer.
I hope that.
No, that's a great answer.
Good answer.
I hope that the casuals out there can at least level with that a tiny bit, but it really does feel good again. So shout out, I really shout out to Finn and his team over there. They're working hard. There are some things that I think people are still not too happy about, but I don't think enough is said about at least this early part of the season. I feel good. I feel refreshed in Apex. Shout out Proxy for the question. We're going to move on here. This one I think is super interesting, and I'm kind of riffing off of his question a little bit. This one comes from Joe Schmo. Now, his original question is, do you think Mirage is balanced? And if so, what comp would you use with him? And do you think you could legitimately win a game in the ALGS? I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to say you have to play Mirage in the ALGS. Pick the other 2 legends to put yourself in the best spot to win an ALGS match, if possible, or at least get the closest you possibly can. How would you guys set that up?
To win a match only, or
to win a match, just to win a game?
Dude, my first thought is to play Caustic, or to win an end game. That's all you have to do. I mean, I do think if you're gonna throw Mirage in, he plays the support role. Like, that's what he is. So, and if that's the case, then you're probably gonna run some sort of either another support character in like an entry fragger, or 2 type of entry fraggers with 1 support. So I'm thinking like a Horizon. You could even throw in like a Cat or a Caustic. I think Mirage is. We all know what Mirage is good at, and it's good at winning 1v1 fights and rezzing. That's about it. And if you're in a comp that's like on edge, that's what he's good for. But that would be my answer to that question. Is I would throw in I would do Mirage, Horizon, Caustic, or Horizon, Cat, Mirage.
All right, so I really liked what Finn was saying about the Horizon Cat, and for me, it really just comes down to, I think any combination of Horizon, Cat, and Bang, any combination, you pick any 2 out of those 3, and you lob them on the team with Mirage, and that's going to be your best shot. But like, all of those characters are absurdly strong and will give you an absolute sturdy shot at bringing home a W, even while playing Mirage. Mirage low-key nasty.
1v1ing, he's
1v1s with the alt, or I can't imagine like an alt late game Mirage.
You're
It'll
just
go crazy.
Yeah,
we could
with
see a
mixed with the
Mirage
cat
meta.
wall.
There could be a Mirage meta one day.
Yeah.
The ultimate's what? It's like 60 seconds.
It's real fast.
Yeah, it comes back
It's
super
really
fast.
short. It is super short. You carry 1 alt excel, you could pop to a fight.
Yeah.
I don't know about a fight. Why? What is your answer?
I honestly, I would be bad at this because I'm not. Like I said, I still call my boys and we talk 45 minutes about team building, and it still doesn't work. But yeah, I think what you guys said was pretty good. I just picture like a Catalyst ult, and then you pop your Mirage ult, and you kind of go in a circle and have your like little guys going in and out of the wall, and they're just all confused. They're just like, oh shit, what do we do? And then it just freaks them out. I think that'd be super funny. Sending like a clone like directly through the wall. They start shooting at it. You're like, there they are. Start attacking them there. I think that's a good combo. Catalyst, I think, good combo. But yeah, I just thought that'd be super interesting because I remember Finn told me one time he had to play, or didn't have to, but it was already too far gone, and you played Mirage inside of like a what was it, ALGS qualifier or something like that.
Oh, bro, dude, that was so bad. It was 2021 World, or would have been Worlds, but it was regionals. Like it was North America regional finals, and yeah, we were like 38th or something, maybe 37th, and it was like no way we were going to be able to make it to finals. So I just played Mirage for 2 games, and it was so fun. We died, but I did bamboozle.
Nice. There we go. Okay, shout out to Joe Schmo. We got 2 questions left. This one comes from Douglas. Where do you see the Apex the podcast in a year's time? Now, if you would have asked me when we first started this thing, knowing podcast history, I'd have been like, there's no way we make it a year just because of just sheer statistics. But we proved that wrong. And now I'm more gung-ho than ever. I think we could rule the world. What do you guys think?
I did not care about a single statistic. There ain't no way that we weren't going to make it a year. That wasn't even a question for me. Just not even like a little bit. Like we definitely we body this, you know? And I'm definitely, I think I don't know exactly like what a number I'd put on it. Like what are we at in terms of like average views like a month?
I think we're
pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I think we could at least like 4x it by the end of the like in a year's time with all of the content that we're about to be, that we've talked about putting out behind, like with all the things that we're putting in place behind the scenes to get more samples out there. I think we're gonna be looking pretty sturdy, and it's just gonna keep growing and growing and growing, and then feel like we have a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily strictly Apex content in terms of like its consumability. And so I think what we got going on, like we got the sauce. Now we're just gonna serve samples. Even if my voice is going out mid answer.
I would like to get the HAL number for our YouTube every like hover around there every episode. That's where I want to be. That's my goal. That's my plan. I think he was at 20,000 on just YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't include just the audio version. If we can get like semi close to that, which I think we can do, I would like to do that. I mean, obviously some guests are going to have a little bit more juice than others, but I would definitely like to do that. What do you think, Finn?
Yeah, I agree. I'd agree with you, Wyatt. And I was going to say, you're probably the best. You've done a lot of podcasts. You've been in broadcasting for quite a bit, and I feel as though if you believe in it, you know. So I feel like if you've been around the block a few times, so I feel like you have a pretty good grasp on like what's good and like what's possible. And so I think if you feel good about it, I also feel. I mean, I very much enjoy it. I mean, I do this. Yes, it is all a hobby for us, but it's like, man, I love competitive Apex. I love Apex Legends just in general. So like this is a joy for me because I get to sit with you two goons and like just talk, and then we get to interview cool people. So I think in that regard, I think I hope that that's the same in a year, right? And I get to enjoy it the same amount that I do now. But yeah, I think if we're able to stay consistent whenever it comes to content, then I think that we'll be able to probably do what both of you guys are saying for our goals, but it's all about staying consistent. But I think that should be a goal, is staying consistent, as that was one of our goals whenever we first created the podcast, which was to make sure that we were doing the podcast every week. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. So I think as long as we continue down that road, but we actually have, we start expanding our horizons a little bit more. I think it could go well.
I
Continue.
want an in-person pod so bad.
It'd be so
I want to
fun.
see how
We'll make it
I want
happen
to see
one
how
day.
it flows.
No, it's gonna happen.
Because
It's gonna happen, no doubt.
Yeah, because I tried to do an in-person. I tried to do a Riverside pod for Grab My Banner, and we could not do it because it was like so weird. We'd always done it in person, and I feel like our chemistry in person would go insane. Like I if we're able to do it over the internet that we've been doing for the last year, I think if we were in person, it would be dirty. I think it'd be really, really good.
Also, people don't
Really good.
understand. Well, like it is super hard to do this because there's a lot of factors that people may not understand. Like there's kind of a delay in stuff, and even whenever we're interviewing guests, like it's hard to like you don't want to over talk them, and there's just different things that you don't. This is like a very unique dynamic that it's online, whereas Wyatt was talking about his other podcasts. You can kind of get the vibe and know when someone's about to be ending their ending their sentence, and then you can continue, with a conversation. Whereas online, you kind of have like awkward pauses or things that you're just like, "Am I good to?" And so I do think an in-person thing should be a goal as well. Maybe in the next year, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Great question. That's a great question from Douglas. Last one here, and then we'll get into the heart-to-heart. What is your personal favorite or most iconic ALGS moment? Would love to hear some of the deeper cuts, not just from the past year's worth of Pro League and LAN. Do you guys have any moment that stands out to you?
Dude. Okay, I mean it's talked about quite a bit, but one of my favorite moments was Hardecki's like 1v3 as a solo rat with a Kraber on the beacon build or the respawn building in between staging and harvester, and he just did like a nasty Kraber shot, and then I think he actually hit 2 Kraber shots and then just one with his wingman shot. He didn't win the game, I don't believe, but he just had like a nice little pop-off moment. Probably one of my favorites, as well as the iconic snipe down, getting respawn, and then he comes down with his axe and just beats people in the end zone, and they win the game. And I think that's got to be up there as one of the 2 of my favorite
against
moments.
100 Thieves.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with he played in and I'm not gonna remember the whole team. I just remember one player. But it was on Kings Canyon in the early days. GS Bird. What team was he on this season?
Oh, it was
Stunny Sung. It was Stunny
Team
Sung
Divergent.
and right?
Yeah.
Or no? Was it? This
I
is
don't
a long
remember
time
the
ago.
full
Remember the one
team.
he just played on?
The team he just played on right now.
Oh.
What team was he on
Yeah,
right
the
now?
team. It was Team Divergent. It was him, Aj, and
Sleepy Panda.
Sleepy Panda.
Yeah, I remember he was on a team a while back. I don't even remember the team, but it was on Kings Canyon, and it was right outside a water treatment plant.
Okay.
Moving towards the map room, before the map room was a thing, and I think they had like a 20 kill game, and it was fucking insane. They were just winning every fight. I believe they had a caustic. And they were just going crazy.
No, they were they were like the OG Gibby Caustic Wraith.
So that was Stunny.
It
That
was
was
gross.
Stunny, GS Bird, and Sung.
GS Bird and Sung. No, that would like that win. I would probably say is probably like one of my favorite moments as well, because I was like I've been like homies with Bird for like so long, and then seeing that team go from a team that like didn't have like a ton of respect on their name to absolutely just basically winning an entire ALGS tournament in 2 games is just such an incredible story. And to like have that be like somebody who I was like on the ranked grind with like before all that, like it was just so cool to watch and like see all the success.
Yeah,
Dude,
that one
gosh.
sticks out for me.
I forgot
That one was
about
so
that,
cool.
Wyatt. It's a great
Dude, it's a wild. It is a wild.
That was my first ALGS memory in general. That was the first time I actually watched it, and then I saw that, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" I was like, "That's insane."
It's crazy because that was back, dude. That was before like Pro League. That was what they used to do were called circuits. And so you'd have 4 different tournaments per circuit, kind of like how the Challenger circuit is now. And so, yeah, that they won a summer tournament, I think, with that comp, and they won it pretty much off 2 games of Kings Canyon, which is insane. And then
So it wasn't even ALGS; it was just a circuit.
Technically, it was ALGS, but it was just it was called like summer circuit, winter circuit, all the different things. But that's how long ago that was. Like, it wasn't pro leagues, like that didn't exist. That was just circuits back in the day. And that also reminded me of Solafide, G2, Aim Assist, whatever you want to call them, Gent, Resulta, and Design. And they won whenever they were in like their prime. They won one of those circuits as well. And I remember watching it from Jordan's perspective, Resulta's perspective, and they won. I got, dude, they had like 24 kills or something on one of their final games, and they won the game. And he just like got up from his chair and started like flexing in his camera, bro. And he screams like aim assist, baby, and that's it. But that's probably some of my favorite memories. Those were a long time ago, though.
Yeah. That's what he asked for. I was trying to think back to anything I could remember, and that was my first memory. So shout out to, I didn't even say his name, Profitworthy. Shout out to Profitworthy for the question. And shout out to everybody who asked a question. And if we didn't get to yours, hopefully in the next coming episodes, we will, because we still got some time before Champs is on the way. So we'll have plenty more opportunities to answer some questions. Ladies and gents, we're going to round out the show with the heart to heart. Let's get it. All right, here we are, ladies and gents. It is heart to heart time. Heart to heart time. Boys, does anybody want to go first? No? I got it?
You got that.
All right.
You got that.
All right, so last week's heart to heart was a little contentious for me. I'm still a little jazzed up over a situation, and I'm happy to say it has been resolved, which anytime you can resolve like a weird situation going on with one of your friends always feels great. I think a lot of times, sometimes you just need to take a little bit of a step back. And I think whenever you're dealing with an argument between friends, I do think a lot of people say don't go to bed angry. I think sometimes it actually does help to go to bed a little bit angry and then wake up in the morning and realize how stupid your thoughts were when you were mad. Like when you sleep it off and you wake up, you're like, why was I thinking like that? Like that's, what the hell? Oh, that was getting dark there. Like it actually does help kind of just being like, you wake up and you're like, that was kind of dumb. And that was pretty stupid. So I think that is my heart to heart this week. Is I love resolving things as quickly as possible, but sometimes the situation doesn't call for that. And you got to learn how to handle the rest of your day, whether it's at work, at home, whatever it may be, just trying to make sure in those situations too, you're also trying to figure out and work out things you could have done better, things you might have done wrong in that time, and things you could work on moving forward in the future, communication wise, and it'll help out both your situations. So that is that. And then my last little nugget here, the beefy crunch burrito is back. Okay. And that has accounted for a good percentage of my happiness. If you've never tried it, I'm sorry, Enoch, Big Taco Bell has me, and they've had me for a long time. The beefy crunch burrito, no sour cream, is quite possibly one of the greatest fast food creations ever made, ever. And I'm bulking anyway, so
you might as well be drinking out of a K-cup if you're going to be eating that Taco Bell. That's all I got to say. It might be worse.
You might be right.
It might be worse.
Right. But dude, it's only back for a limited time. That's a good thing. It'll go away and then I'll act like that phase never happened. But the beefy crunch burrito being back has accounted for like too much of my happiness over the last week. And I've had too many of them. But limited time. You only live once, you know? I'll probably die a little bit earlier because I ate so many of them. But yeah, beefy crunch burrito.
You got a rough estimate?
It's around like,
is that private?
It's around like 5. It's around like 5. But
I
found
what time frame?
A week.
Okay.
Not too bad, you know?
It could be worse.
Could be way worse.
It could be worse.
Could be way worse. You guys got this one. Anybody up next?
I can go. Dude, I'm not going to lie. I had Pred today, And the fact that it took me this long to hit pred was absolutely just painful, because it was a combination of not treating my placement games the way I needed to and getting placed in silver too, which then led me to just have so much more LP playing against the same players I would have been playing in if I got placed in plat. And so that just added time. And then I had a 3-hour delay on me being able to like play because there's just certain people, certain accounts. It was an account issue because I signed into a burner account, but obviously I can't play ranked on a burner account. Like for it to count towards like mine. And so it ended up being like 3 hours long, and then I got to play, and then just bad games, and then just I had a lot of just days where things would just not go my way, and I had a lot of opportunity to not get irritated or upset or like starting to feel like disappointed in the way that I was playing and not gaining as much as I would have. And that was an opportunity to work through that. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't do the best job about it at times. I definitely got a little bit Mr. Poopy Pants at times. And when I did an 18-hour stream and went from Diamond 4 to Diamond 2, that was just tough scenery. But, we bounced back and hit pred today, and, we're going to keep on going. And so it was just a nice reminder of that I have a long way to go. But also I handled it better than I would have a few years ago. And so for the most part, yeah, it was just a nice opportunity to be faced with a decent amount of like disappointment. And the fact that like I'm talking about this as being like a big disappointment thing, and the fact that I'm talking about like playing a video game, like my life on the grand scheme of things is like I'm just blessed. And so the more I focus on that and do all of the things that I talk about trying to do, what would have been like a super bad situation that would have like caused me to turn into a worse version of myself, like even more than I did. It's just a choice that you don't have to make. And so it was a nice opportunity to fail and learn, and excited for this week because I'm slingshot prepped. Like my slingshot, I pulled that back. You know what I'm saying? Like that thing is taut, and I think we caught a little bit of the spring forward today, and we're just gonna keep riding that wave. And I got a lot of bad games out of the way early, and so the rest of my season should be fire.
That's right. That line is taut. It's taut right now. It is taut. Finn, your heart to heart.
Yeah, it's funny because like mine's sort of similar. Well, kind of similar to E's, but more so like the day one. It's so hard when you're in a way. I've worked.
You definitely had feelings about what people were saying.
Yeah, because like I worked hard.
Ben definitely was hurt.
Well, I wasn't hurt. I think in some way you like. I think I obviously, I was a part of. This is one of the first seasons where I was like actually a part of the team, and like I had like a hand in helping in some of this, and so
people were definitely overly harsh.
There was some overreactions.
A lot of overreactions.
There was a decent amount of overreaction. I think right now, as it stands, I would say that this is by far one of the best rank systems we've had in a long time.
Dude, it actually works.
Without question.
It feels so good. And I got to give a quick shout out to former guest Noko. Noko kept the positive energy pretty much since day one.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been cranking that. He's been riding that.
And then people were trying to roast him for it. People were trying to roast him, being like, "Oh, you're really trying to get those gifted subs." I think he was just right the whole time because I've thoroughly enjoyed this season. So shout out Noko. We got to get him back on at some point.
So yeah, mine was just kind of like having to eat that, which is fine. I understand that that's part of it. So, and like I'm not even really like a part of it. Like I am, but like I'm only like a tiny part, and it doesn't like very, whatever that means. And ended there, but it was just more so like, dang, had to eat that on the chin, and that's okay. And but yeah, I'm more so my heart to heart's more so like I'm proud of the season. So I'm proud to be a part of the team. So that was really kind of it.
Yeah, and I will say right now, I have felt really, really good. You should be proud because I don't. There's a lot of things that we cannot say, but just know we got a good one on our side. Just know we've got a good one on our side with Finn. He's working his ass off. So, good heart to heart. That was a great heart to heart, actually, from all three of us there. Ladies and gents, that should just about round it out for the show this week. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Very soon, very, very soon, we're going to be getting towards champs, and then we will have a plethora of things to say and do.
Also
What were you
shout
gonna say,
out to all the people that stayed to the end. And we had like, dude, I think we had like 20 reviews or something on our Spotify added on. So I want to say shout out to those people
Fuck yeah.
that went and did reviews
Love
for
to
us.
see it. Appreciate
Appreciate
the
it.
support.
If you
Thank you.
made it this far
Huge.
into our podcast and you haven't submitted a review for us, make sure you guys go and do that on whatever Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Send us a like on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, do whatever
Also,
you can.
a huge. This is the part of podcasting that's super interesting. Is like sometimes you just say something that you don't think people would be like interested in, but you just say it because it's like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this, and then you say your heart to heart or whatever. The amount of people, I don't know if you got this too, Finn. The amount of people that reached out to me about working out was insane. Like I got so many people being like, yes, let's go. Oh, hell yeah. I was like, I just didn't think that people would be that jazzed up about it. But they were, and I really appreciated it because I need all the help I can get. Okay. Like I need all of it. So I may not respond in the moment, but I am reading everything that people are sending me about working out because I am a infant child when it comes to this game. And I'm learning a little bit more each and every day because of you guys. So I do appreciate that. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. And do leave a review if you haven't already, if this is your first time listening to the show. It's so quick, it's so fast, and it helps us out so much. So we would really appreciate it. Don't forget to click the link down below as well to join our Discord and follow along with all of our other social medias. And we will catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex the Podcast.